I was 10 weeks pregnant with my first baby when I was diagnosed. I had discovered a lump and had gone to the doctor maybe 2 or 3 months before that. And then in the process of getting a diagnosis, I fell pregnant. I was very happy with that. But yeah, pretty shocked when I got the diagnosis. So it made all the treatment options infinitely more complicated.
The idea behind chemotherapy is that cancer cells are growing in a disorganized and usually a more rapid fashion than we would like them to grow. Normal growth and development is part of the life cycle of the human, the life cycle of every cell in the human. The cell is born, it grows, and it dies at the right time. What happens with certain tumor cells is that they either grow faster or they lose the ability to die, so that they continue to persist where they shouldn't. And that overgrowth of cells is what we refer to as a tumor or a cancer.
Once upon a time, there were 3 cuddly little wolves with soft fur and fluffy tails who lived with their mother. I genuinely believe that chemotherapy has given me extra years to live. When you have a locally advanced cancer, as many young women do, and we tend to have aggressive tumours, surgery will remove the tumour, but if some spread has started to happen through the bloodstream, then it really is only chemotherapy that can actually target and kill those cells, and that really is your best long-term chance.
The initial use of chemotherapy was designed to kill these rapidly growing cells, which sometimes it did spectacularly well, but in the process it made patients spectacularly sick by causing hair loss and gastrointestinal upset and low blood counts, which predisposed them to infection, bleeding complications and other things. So in the last 10 to 20 years, the hunt has been on to make the cell killers more selective for killing just the bad cells or killing the cancer cells and leave the normal cells alone. There's no doubt there are a number of drugs that are available now that can be taken by mouth and in some instances can produce complete responses and complete remissions in certain cancers with little or no toxicity or side effect. And this is all down to this target-based approach which comes directly from the laboratory.
The main structure that we are interested in the lab is the mitotic spindle, which sounds very technical, but what it actually looks like to us is like this fabulous intricate net of a scaffold that forms around the cell. And once you get to watch this happen in a microscope, it's like something that is addictive to follow, because you can see it happening in real time and you can image it. And once you start to look down into the black space down the microscope with the fluorescent colours, you get just almost lost in it, and you're always following the cells around the dish and watching what's normal, what's happening as normal, with normal timing, with normal kinetics, and then watching for the guys that there's something not quite right in.
It is vital that we continue to develop new drugs, new concepts, new technologies, and bring them from the laboratories into the clinic. The spindle apparatus might well be one such target that might be appropriate for a new drug to come and be effective.
And he huffed and he puffed, but the house didn't fall down. But the pig wasn't called. It was a long journey, and definitely a very emotional journey. And I think we're all equipped with huge survivor capabilities whilst you're going through the treatment, and you just tend to get on with it. And of course, my daughter was in special care the first 5 weeks of her life, so I had a unique distraction and a unique perspective on everything, because people said, how did you manage to resume chemotherapy 5 days after giving birth? And my point was, I barely noticed, because I was in special care most of the day, watching her fight for life. So you really just get on with it. And I think it's only after your treatment finishes that you tend to say, what the hell was that? What was that past? What was that 9 months all about?
Well, 4 years later, things are back to normal. You almost forget that you've ever had it. The hardest part, I suppose, is that you're at a stage of your life where you'll never have any more children because of the treatment, and you look back on the years when, having just had a baby, and he he was only 3 weeks old when I was diagnosed, and I was sick for 9 months. So really his first year of his life was passed around to different people to look after him. So from that point of view, you always have that bit of sadness in the back of your heart that you didn't get to spend that time with him. But then on the other hand, you look at the positives and you say, well, he's here and he's alive and he's full of life, and I'm here to look after him, and that's the most important thing. So we kind of focus on that and keep going.
As we've understood DNA, its structure, and now understand DNA in its totality, what all our genes that make us up, life is working through us to understand itself, to heal itself. Just in the same way that our body has enzymes that repair the DNA when mistakes occur or when damage occurs, we now have pharmaceutical companies and university departments that are focused on very specific questions. And this is sort of life turning back and using the intellect that it has evolved to understand itself and improve itself. I think this is a very interesting time to be working in biology and to be a human being.
And asked him to stay as long as they wanted. The pig accepted, and they all lived happily ever after. The end.